What up, everyone? Welcome to Minorly Important, the podcast where we talk about minor league sports. I'm your host, Kevin Marlowe. I'm joined here by my co-host, Dylan Little. Dylan, how's it going, buddy?
Hey, man, I can't complain. Yeah, just normal life stuff. I got the kids going through. We actually just got their school pictures back, which is pretty crazy. Crazy time. But yeah, anyway, how is life, I should say?
It's going all right. Can't complain, you know. So much like Colin, we found out that I'm also having a baby boy. So we are welcoming another one in.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Hey, you want to feel young? I just found out I'm having a grandchild. Thank you very much.
There we go.
Congratulations.
Thanks.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, we'll just leave it right there, okay? They said, what are they going to call you? Grandpa, Gramps? I said, just old. They're just going to call me old.
Well, we are also joined by Colin Scholl and Ryan Baker. Guys, how's it going?
It's going good, Kevin.
Good.
I'm really glad, the heat and humidity is finally starting to dissipate from our nice little Midwestern state here. And
Agreed.
I'm just glad I'm not sweating buckets every single day now.
Yep. Ryan, how about you, bud?
Well, unlike Colin, I work an inside job, so it's been nice and cool. Today, we got DeKalb Middle School got the Champions in the Middle banner for the partnership with Unified Sports. And
There we go.
or I guess Unified Sports, which is a partnership with the IHSA and Special Olympics. We completed the pillars and became the first esports unified program in the state of Indiana.
Heck yeah.
So we got our banner, and it was a great party for that today.
It's very
Sweet, man.
cool. All right. Well, and then you heard...
Before we get started, hang on. Remember, I was telling you before we started that I liked Colin. Ryan, you're looking at a DHS alumni right here. DeKalb High
All
School.
right, go
Yes!
Bears!
Yeah,
There we go.
class of 1987. The only thing I know about esports is it starts with an E, but other than that, we're good.
Heck yeah.
Well, Colin's also from DeKalb High School.
Yes, I
Come
am.
on, really?
Yeah.
That's fantastic.
We
Yeah.
were we were 2012 grads, but we were.
Oh, see why you had good God. So like I could be your dad is what you're telling me. Thanks a lot.
Yeah,
thanks
pretty
a lot.
much.
All right. And then you have heard him chime in. We are joined here by the Chief Operations Officer and co-owner of Fort Wayne FC, Mr. Scott Sproat. Scott, how you doing tonight, man?
Doing well. I apologize that I'm not on camera, but as I was telling the guys, my wife recently acquired a puppy, and he does not really play very well along with the rules as far as not barking up a storm.
Mhm.
So even though Colin had some, barking and screaming and yelling going on in the background, I aspire to be better. So
Ooh. Got it.
It's like
You'll
you
hear
already
my-
knew.
yeah, pretty much. So
There we go.
so I'm outside to make sure that doesn't happen, and so the lighting's not very good, and plus I never like to make the other four people on a podcast, feel bad about how much more attractive I am than they are. So
There we go.
this works
There we
better.
go.
This works better.
All right.
I don't know.
All
Colin's haircut's looking pretty clean today.
Yeah.
Oh,
So-
don't do that. No, we're gonna have to up the rating on this.
Jeez.
I'm just saying there are five of us on this particular program, and only one of them is baby faced with no facial hair. So
Yeah.
Hey,
Kevin,
I
I
don't-
don't know what you're doing.
I
but-
don't look good with facial hair, which is odd because out of the other three hosts, I'm the hockey player in the group. So you would think I could grow a beard, but can't.
Or count to 20, because that often is not possible with hockey players. Oh, sorry, did I say that out loud?
Kevin,
Uh.
you grow a mean stash though, man. For Movember, you should do it.
You should.
All right. Well, we'll move along now. Scott, so thanks for joining us tonight. We really appreciate it. We are already having a blast, and we can't wait to hear your stories. You have been heavily involved in minor league sports. Think a while back you were telling me you were involved with the Fort Wayne Fury. Was that correct?
That is correct. So my first job out of college, well, actually, before the Fury ever started, I did a year internship with them when we were in our development phases, and then when we tipped off, I was there full time. I was there until the very bitter end. Isaiah Thomas, who Kevin probably looks worse with facial hair than you would. Um, don't get me started. A league that had been in business for 54 years. It took Isaiah 9 months to run it out of business, but we digress. So I was with the Fort Wayne Fury the entire tenure of that franchise, and then Michael Franke, may he rest in peace, and I miss him every day. He and I were already pretty good friends, and I was prepared to go work in New York at the NBA office. My wife was pretty much telling me that, well, you should look into that because you'll be a single man again if you do that. Um, so Michael said to me, "Hey, let's go to lunch." We went to lunch. He said, "What do you think? Why don't we do this together instead of against each other?" And I said, "Sure." And that was 24, 25 years ago. So here I am. I've never had a real job. I'm thankful to say that. Now, with that said, I've had a real lifestyle because sports is 24/7, 365. But no, I've never had a real job. I've been very fortunate. Dylan, is that a Mad Ants hat on your head? Or
Yes,
am I seeing
sir.
things? You know that I added Garrett Martz to our staff quite a while ago, who was instrumental in their success. So you don't want to know what we used to call them when I was with the Comets and they were here, because they used to steal our dates at the
Right.
at the Coliseum. So
Right. Yeah.
let's just say that it had something to do with urination, and we'll leave it at that.
Ooh, okay.
Ouchie.
Well, yeah, so Scott, I don't know if you knew this, but Colin, Dylan, and we all were part of the Mad Ant Drummers.
I did know
So,
that.
yep.
Yep.
So, and
And
then that bled over to the Fort Wayne FC Drummers.
Yeah.
Now, so
yeah, Garrett told me today. I was with him today. We actually were up in Angola at Trine University, which is his alma mater, and we discussed how the only thing really that carried forth with any kind of semblance of order were the drummers. From the Ants to Fort Wayne FC.
yeah.
There's a funny story behind Trine.
Yeah.
I actually heard the Fort Wayne FC drummers are significantly better than the Mad Ants drummers.
Whoa, okay.
Okay. All
Hey,
right.
let's have that
they both have
conversation.
the same. They both have the same founder. So
Well, I just heard because of a new member last year. I don't know much about it, but new member that played for Fort Wayne FC drummers last season made it better.
Now,
Uh-huh.
you guys are planning on moving forward with this, right, as our drum corps? Assuming the answer to that is yes,
yes.
then let me just say that I don't see any way anything would be comparable to the Fort Wayne FC drummers because
That's right.
they are tremendous, appreciated, and better. They improved over time. Kind of
Yeah.
like a fine wine,
For
they
sure.
aged well. Yeah.
Well, we
Yeah,
appreciate
take that, Colin and Dylan.
Hey now.
He's not saying anything about Kevin because Kevin's his boss.
What do you mean?
What?
Kevin's all of our bosses still.
Technically.
Kevin's on the
technically.
Fort Wayne FC drummers. I don't know what.
Yeah.
He keeps asking me for new drums though, and I'm thinking, don't
Do
you
it.
work at Sweetwater? What are we talking
Right.
about here?
Right.
That's what I'm.
Come on,
that's what I
Kevin.
asked him last
Hey,
year.
Fort Wayne FC drum raps would be really cool.
That'd be
There you
sweet.
go.
Hey,
get-
I have some people that we can totally make that happen. So
Hey,
There you
you
go.
get
There you
drums. I'm back on. I'm doing it.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. I'm telling you.
We're going to
Yeah,
have a nice
just
spot
saying.
for him too. We've got down at the end of the stadium, the closed end. We will have the supporters section. It's got a nice spot out in front for drums and smoke and all kinds of good things. And I'm currently in negotiation with several companies. We want to call it the bitter end, assuming we can find a bitter coffee or a bitter beer. I'm guessing with this crew, probably a bitter beer as opposed
Heck
to a
yeah.
coffee.
Yep.
yeah.
Yeah.
But
Guinness
yeah, so
is my beer of choice.
Hey man.
yeah.
He
There
said,
you go.
he said
We're-
bitter,
we're-
Colin, not delicious and smooth.
Well, you're talking to a non-drinker, not because I have any issues with it. People say to me all the time, "So why don't you drink, Scott?" And I'll look at them, I'll say, "Well, why don't you skydive?" I don't know, just because I don't. I
Yeah.
mean, it's not personal or anything.
Good answer. Yeah.
So Scott, how did you get in with Fort Wayne FC? What made you make that switch from hockey to soccer?
Well, two answers to that. Number one, well, three answers to that. I can't count well tonight. Dylan, you're rubbing off on me.
Hey.
Three answers to that. Number one, Mark Music is putting his money where his mouth is, and he is building the stadium completely privately funded, which having been involved with a facility that was obviously run by the county, and we appreciated them tremendously, but anytime anything came up, it was, county commissioners and board of trustees, and so this won't be that. Then there's this redheaded kid that plays for the team. Incredibly attractive young man. Rumor has it might be the all-time leader in minutes and games played, and might be first team all league one time. And so I know his mom. So so there's the second answer. And Mark Music. I mean, he just approached me and he said, "Hey, here's what I'm thinking. Obviously, what we've been about. This is what we're doing." And really, more than anything, it was an opportunity to build the stadium, to really launch something. Now, it may take time to build it up to exactly what we want, but I'm not going anywhere. And Mark's obviously not going anywhere. DeMarcus is not going anywhere. So when you start to talk about the core of the franchise and what we're all about and the mission statements, I mean, even Coach Avery, which I don't know if you guys saw the
Yep.
news today,
I was
but
gonna talk about
Yep.
that.
yeah, with Coach Rule, I mean, you can't find a better core group of people. I mean, you just can't. And so, the opportunity to join that group and to be a part of that was just kind of too good to pass up. Plus, I heard they had these tremendous drummers and this podcast that was just beyond comparable. So here I am.
Awesome. Well, thanks, Scott.
Yeah.
We are super excited. We would like to be out there for opening day there at the at Fort Wayne FC Park. Is that the official name? Is that what it's going to stay?
Well, I mean, it's the name for now. We are carefully weighing options and talking to different partners, and we want the right partners in place. I think there's a lot of people who assume, that Mark was going to call it Ruoff, Park or whatever. But two things with that. Number one, it's not his motivation. Now, may it end up being that? It might, because I'm going to pitch him this idea that he could get a pretty good amount of exposure there right off I-69,
For
if
sure.
he was to jump on there. But no, it's not his motivation. And then also, with Ruoff Music Center being, it's a little ways, but kind of right down the road, we'll also be competing and partnering. Some of the musical acts that will be down at Ruoff Music Center we'll target to come up here, because one of the fun parts of the story, and this is probably one of the other things, if I'm going to add a fourth or fifth or whatever number we're at, um, the opportunity to do more than just sports and more than just sporting events, to be able to do major concerts, to be able to do large scale, trade shows, light shows, drone shows. I've got friends from a long time ago, from the WWF at the time, WWE, WCW.
Ooh.
So if I can talk
Ooh.
them into, an outdoor event now, usually it has to be WrestleMania or something like that it's called, for them to go outdoors. But you know what? I'm not afraid to at least take a swing. I may strike out, or I may be like that guy. By the way, baseball, just for a moment, if I can introduce it, the new best player in the game has the greatest nickname in the history of baseball. Does anybody know who I'm talking about right now?
Ryan May.
I'm talking about Big Dumper from the Seattle
Oh,
Mariners.
Cal
Yeah.
Raleigh. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, the catcher and switch hitter, and just hit 60 home runs, and he literally walks around calling himself the Big
Big
Dumper.
dumper.
I mean, come on. Come on.
That's awesome.
I'm
That's
a
awesome.
Boston Red Sox fan, but I'm sorry, he's my
Hey,
guy from now
hey,
on.
hey, do want to just note, Scott, I got the game here. 2-1 Red Sox.
Well, let's just say, knock on wood there.
Yeah,
But
I
yeah,
know.
yeah,
I know.
they are playing the evil empire. So
I so
unless somebody rooted for Darth Vader, I don't want to hear about it.
so Scott, I am a Cubs fan, but I'm also
Cubs
a
go.
Red Sox fan because I
Gross.
just hate the Yankees that much.
Well, and
So
that makes it all good. But then
yeah.
the other part of that is, as a Cubs fan, I mean, you kind of got to pick up a second team, don't you? I mean, the beer is cold, the ivy is green, the stadium's great, but Harry Carey's gone, and what other reason is there,
Right,
to
right.
really follow them? So
Goodness.
Yeah, Kevin, you could always join the better team in Chicago.
No, I've picked
They won
the
Yeah.
best team in
won,
Chicago, and I've
60
picked the
games
best
this
team
year.
with Sox in their name. So I just want to say,
Hey,
See
former
what I
White Sox
do?
Garrett
I just
Crochet was on the mound today.
I just get you guys all arguing with yourselves, talking about baseball, and then I don't really have to show people that my intellect is inferior. So.
well,
Can we just take a moment in silence for the Cincinnati Reds making the playoffs this year?
And
For
with that
once.
payroll,
For
as
once.
I don't know if you saw that, but there are two teams that made the postseason, the Guardians and the Reds, both who reside in pretty close proximity, and I believe their total payroll is less than the Dodgers are paying Shohei Ohtani.
That's
So
crazy.
there you have it.
I'll take it.
dang.
I'll take
So
it.
Scott, we did have a thought for
Yes.
Fort Wayne FC Park.
Yes.
Have you ever thought about asking the ECHL to do an outdoor game at Fort
Please.
Wayne FC Park?
Please.
No.
Oh.
Please.
Here's what I'm going to tell you. Okay, so we looked into it at Parkview Field forever, and we looked into it. We actually were a part of one over in Toledo, and even though everybody assumed that the Comets and Walleye hated each other, it wasn't the case. They did on the ice, but I've got a lot of good friends over there, and logistically, it is really tough to pull off. And it
Oh, I
is
can assume.
very, very expensive. And we would not be looking to foot that entire bill in order to make it happen. We would obviously want participation with a certain team that would be there, doing it as well. And I'm just going to leave that right there. And that's all I'm going to say. But no, it logistically, it's terrible. Plus, have you guys had DeMarcus on in the past?
No,
Not yet.
we
Okay.
asked him, but there's a conflict with.
Oh, gotcha.
Yep.
Gotcha. Here's what I'm going to tell you. DeMarcus doesn't want anything to ever be done on the field except for foreign FC games. And if you now that's not going to be the case, but if you introduce the concept of putting goalposts up, he loses his ever loving mind, because that's not football. That is combat sports with a pigskin. And so, I don't think we'll look to never say never. I mean, we'll be open to anything. But the other side of it is it doesn't necessarily set up really well for hockey either, because it's so open. The concept of the stadium is that you pretty much, other than if you're in the bathroom, sorry, Ryan, and other than being in the bathroom, you can pretty much see the pitch from everywhere. And, from a wind standpoint, from a lot of standpoints, if it's cold enough to play a hockey game outside, there could be some pretty bad conditions. And I've been to them NHL games before, and what they'll tell you is between the effort and the climate and a lot of those difficulties, you need to be selling 40,000 tickets, or 100,000 tickets, or
Yeah.
whatever, because it is a big nightmare to pull off. But with that said, never say never. We'll look at just about anything, and if we feel like it's good for the community, if we feel like it's something that the fan base wants to see, and if we think it's something that could help promote the stadium and the building by bringing in new fans and new people, well, and like I said, never say never. The one thing I don't want to do on the field, because I just don't understand it, is pickleball. I'm sorry if I'm offending anyone.
Nope.
But to me, that's ping pong on grass. I don't. I don't
Agreed. Agreed.
Yep. I
yeah,
don't
but
understand the fad.
no, we will definitely look at volleyball. We will look at, potentially rugby. We will look at lacrosse. We will look at, any kind of events, and probably pickleball too. But we want to focus on football, and, not that stuff that. Now, with that said, I was an American football player, so DeMarcus and I usually get pretty riled up at each other. But we don't really want to do anything in there except football and, the original game. Now, we'll do other things, but a lot of that'll be high school. A lot of that'll be travel tournaments. A lot of that'll be collegiate, events. A lot of
Yeah.
that'll be we're gonna go after the NCAA, for Final Fours or for regional 16s. We're gonna go after the state of Indiana, IHSAA. Who knows? We're gonna pursue everything, and if we feel like it can enrich, number one, our game, number two, our market, and number three, our building, then never say never. Mine personally, I've got, like I said, I got a lot of connections to the WWE. So now our beat writer, I don't know if you ever talked to him much, but he's that Ohio Valley wrestling guy. He's actually a referee over there. So he's going to put luchadors and all that stuff. And so I already told him that if he agrees to put on the tights and take off the referee costume, then we'll do Ohio Valley right off the top. So there you go.
That'd
Nice.
be awesome. So I have read that the Jumbotron is the second largest in the state of Indiana. Is that correct?
That is a true statement. And to give you measurements and perspective, okay, so measurements 120 feet wide by 35 feet tall. And this is the one that really got me. It's like, because I'm old. So, we don't have this ability to go online with esports and put things in AI and chat GPT. I thought that was like an auto race when I first heard it, GPT, right? But to give you perspective, it is the equivalent of 350 65-inch HD TVs. So if you
Wow.
were to glue together 350 65-inch TVs, that is the size of our board. And you're not going to be able to be anywhere in that building and literally not see things in a tremendous detail. So there won't be things missed. And if they are missed, it'll just be because, again, Ryan's in the bathroom. And so we can't show that highlight as well. But no, it's a huge feature. And then I don't know how much you know, but it also has video capabilities on the back facing the interstate. Now,
Ah,
Oh, I didn't know
Ye-
that.
Wow.
That's cool.
yes, it will have backlit signage representing our major partners, but it has a video board as part of it. Now, with that said, it's an on-premise sign, so we could technically show the games facing the interstate as well. But from a civic responsibility standpoint,
Yeah.
we won't do that.
Seems like a bad
Because
idea.
yeah, we don't want people
Should be
driving off the
fine.
road. But what we will do is promote our next match, promote upcoming events, promote, the players on the team, promote, efforts to support high school soccer, collegiate soccer. So we will run things like that on the back of the board. And then it'll also give us the opportunity when we bring in an event, it'll let us, really explain to everyone passing by that this is what's going on and we're community building. And so we'll also use it for things like promoting city events. We'll use it for things like nonprofit groups and any efforts they're having to raise funds. Odds are good we'll do things with the zoo. Odds are good we'll do things with, Promenade Park and some of the downtown activities. We just become a great opportunity to promote the really solid things that already go on here and to create a new set of them. NDOT tells me that approximately 170,000 cars will go by that stadium every day. So we can have the kind of impact. I was talking to my friends at Big Brothers Big Sisters recently, and if there's a little looking for a match, we'll be able to promote that on the back of the board, and it's pretty impactful what we'll be able to do.
That's
Super
awesome.
cool. Yeah.
That's
could you guys imagine how good the camera quality is going to be for those soccer games and any other thing that they're going to hold there with how big that screen is? Ah, it's going to be great. Way better than
What-
the Coliseums.
Yeah, well, again, no comment. But I love that place. For 34 years I was in that place, okay? But what I can tell you is, the streaming aspect is also very, very high quality because we don't have a choice. CBS Sportsnet and ESPN Plus, those are the people that we are working with. Now, will the games be live? no, they're not going to preempt, the NCAA championship, but the streaming services will be there, and they will have audience from all over the country, because again, it's not like the Comets where we're playing Indy and Toledo and Cincinnati and Kalamazoo. We're going to be playing Spokane, Washington. We're going to be playing teams from all over the country. So the ability to showcase Fort Wayne too to other markets and other opportunity. It's just a really cool thing. But yes, the cameras will be unbelievably cool, and we will focus on every single inch of the stadium except for where the drummers are, because let's face it, we have standards. We really can't be showing that kind of thing on television.
Hey, totally get it. But
Hey, we just march to the beat of our own drum.
Yeah, well, you know what I've always heard about that? That just means you can't follow the real beat. But anyway,
Oh,
I can't. That's
Ooh,
true.
shots
That's
fired.
true.
Shots
Kevin
fired.
hasn't taught me well, so.
Now, Scott, are you guys gonna have obviously a smaller board on the opposite side of the stadium too, or are you just gonna have just one big one on that side?
we'll just have the one big one. Now we'll have closed circuit everywhere, so you won't be able to move around anywhere without seeing, the same feed that's going on everywhere else. However, we are looking into the possibility of having a smaller, lower resolution board, for example, in the fun zone, in the fan zone. We're a
Okay.
tremendous fan zone behind the video board, between the video board, the scoreboard, and the interstate. We're going to have a futsal court that'll be fenced in that the kids can play in. We'll have bounce houses. We'll have, cornhole. We'll have anything you can think of that enhances the spirit of the game. So if you come to the game with your kids, not that this would be very good parenting, but the entire area is closed. So you could really say to them, hey, just go over there and play, because I heard that Foreign FC got a liquor license, and so I'll be over here. I'll be over here. But the other cool part of that is that there's going to be a 70-foot wide bar underneath the video board that will be accessible
Holy
from
cow.
both sides.
Hey.
So, whether you're facing your kids in the fun zone, or you're just saying, hey, if I hear one of them screaming, we'll get over there to them, from the other side. It's just all open concept. It's so cool. And, even opportunities like that, one of the features that we're still working through, and when I say we, I mean Mark. He this has become the passion project of his adult life. It's crazy amount of time and effort. It's not just, hey, let me just figure out how to fund this and do it. It is every day involved. He's flown all over the country looking at the top stadiums out there at different levels, whether it's MLS or USL Championship or USL One, MLS Next, Super League, NWSL. I mean, he has really done his homework and taken the best features of anywhere you can think of. So just to elaborate, the way the locker rooms lay out, the club VIP area, which will have club VIP seats, which will be inclusive. So there'll be parking, there'll be tickets, there'll be alcoholic drink tickets, there'll be non-alcoholic, there'll be a buffet every night, a private gathering area, in behind the
cool.
hallways and concourses.
That's so cool.
The way the locker rooms are laid out, when the teams are ready to come out to the pitch and enter, the field, they're going to walk right through the VIP club. So if you're in
That's
there,
awesome.
and I'm saving those seats for you guys, by the way, too. I'll send
Oh
you
yeah.
I'll send you the invoices tomorrow.
Okay. Yeah.
Say Kevin Marlowe will come.
Yeah. Yeah.
All courtesy of Kevin Marlowe at
There you go.
Sweetwater. There'll be a lot of drumming he'll be having to do to pay that off. But, literally, if you're in the VIP club, you have the opportunity to high five the team as they come in and out of the stadium. It's just the number of features that are included, they're just unbelievable. And, at the end of the opposite end away from the video board, we have perches that are literally like, I'm not good with math, but 15 feet, 20 feet away from the touch line, and we can do private areas there. We've got Vista decks up top by the press box that if you're, wanting to do a little higher area, but have a smaller group, we can do private groups up there with food and beverage carts pushed in. This is the amazing statistic, and I'm not sure how to wrap my arms around this yet, but there will be no seat in our stadium other than the one again with Ryan in the bathroom, but there will be no seat where you can watch the game that'll be farther than 55 feet away from the touchline.
Wow.
How? What?
That is
That's so
cool.
cool.
Now, could you tell us what your guys' capacity is?
I can. It is approximately 82 to 8,300 seating wise, and we're still playing with ways to squeeze all of those in terms of how wide they are, how high the backs are across the board. But with that said, then we have approximately 8 to 900 standing room only that we can do actually underneath the video board between the touchline, the pitch, and the video board. That takes us up just slightly over 9,000. So we
Nice.
can do 9,000 for soccer matches. Now, when we come to reconfiguring the stadium for concerts and other shows, we can go almost to 13,000 for the right configuration with a concert, which that opens up a different tier of act too.
Yeah.
I'm old, so when the groups come to town to play at the Clyde or anywhere else, and thank God for Chuck Surek and all he does for our community. But you're talking about Flo Rida or Willie Nelson, stuff like that. Now I'm not saying we'll get Taylor Swift because I'm not a Chiefs fan anyway, so I don't think I could deal with that. But
Right.
but we'll get that next level of concerts and acts, so that'll be amazing. And then I hear the I always get his name wrong, but Mr. Linker, who's with the fan club, rumor has it he's getting married next summer. We could do approximately a 13,000 seat wedding where it would be on the jumbotron and everyone would have a seat and be visible to the entire event. So I'm telling Shane, get your 13,000 friends together, and we will put on the wedding of the century for you.
Heck yeah.
Man, that's a lot
So
of
we
wedding
can
gifts.
that's what I'm saying. Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, with that said, Shane did tell me he's probably closer to 13 on his guest list, but we can extrapolate, we can make it work. But we'll have the ability to do anything. We can do, conventions and trade shows, and if you can dream it, we can do it. And really, even with the roofing and things the way it is, if it's a little bit smaller event that's utilizing the space in the stadium, there will be quite a bit of seating that will be fairly covered, in terms of rain and some of the elements. So it really opens up possibilities. And again, this is a credit to Mark and how he's really studied and really done everything. But it's going to be pretty amazing in terms of what else we can do. And then, oh, by the way, we're gonna play pro soccer as well. So
Naturally. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I'm excited to see, like, in the stadium. The renderings just look amazing.
Yeah,
Like,
they do.
it looks top tier. And that idea of the VIP club being there by the locker room, that reminds me of, like, Gamebridge Fieldhouse
Yeah. Yeah.
and, like, stuff like that.
yeah, for sure. And again, between my time in basketball and hockey and Mark's studying of soccer, and keep in mind we got this Beasley character that's with us, and he's seen some of the more impressive soccer stadiums in the world, much
True.
less the
True.
United States. So I would say that conservatively, this is going to be one of the premier venues in North America until they start building bigger, better, bolder in bigger cities. But to find a place like this in a city that our size, it's unheard of. It's unheard of. It's crazy.
That's awesome. I'm excited to see it. So with that, you guys it is now moving from USL 2 to USL 1, which is now officially pro soccer.
Correct.
How, like, does that mean you guys get I assume would mean a bigger budget than what you guys were dealing with, and now players are getting paid? How does all that work with that transition?
Well, we're gonna be charging a little bit more for tickets in the
Yep.
new building.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Naturally.
We've
I
got
assume so.
yeah, we've got quite a few revenue opportunities based on that. But the real answer to that is, we need the support of Fort Wayne. And, having dabbled in pretty much the pro sports other than baseball that have been here, what you learn is that it's really a connect the dots. So, I mean, from a budget standpoint, there was a really old friend of mine that was involved in minor league baseball forever, independent leagues, and he always said, a budget's sort of a silly thing to talk about in sports because you either got the money or you don't, right? But no, the move to pro is significant, because now we have players that, before we would have the occasional player who would maybe ascend to the MLS or comparable levels. We're going to have guys now fighting to get back there. We're going to have guys on their way up. We're going to have guys that may be on their way down, but still are looking to move back up. It's pretty remarkable, what the culture of soccer is becoming in North America, and the ability that we will have to showcase that. That we will have players from all over the world, and they will be players that are older. Just like, my years in hockey, for example, we'd have the young kids who were just on their way up, but then we'd also have the veterans that, could be in their early 30s that, had still had a lot of abilities, just couldn't skate quite as fast as NHL guys anymore. There'll be a lot of that. And the skill positions will be a focus, and we'll round out the roster. Now, the ultimate goal, and this is many years from now, and, this old guy who just found out he's going to be a grandpa, no comments from the gallery, please. Um, if I'm still around, the goal is to start our own academy, to start our own development program, to start our own training facilities. And so in my perfect world, and again, going back to why the hell did you do this, Scott? Oh, shoot, you might have to beep that out. Sorry. Um, but why the heck did you do this, Scott? It's because my vision is, a young man or a young lady turns 4 or 5 years old and decides they want to start kicking a soccer ball around. They can be a part of Fort Wayne FC, Fort Wayne Football Club, from that first time kicking a ball all the way up through their high school years, and then with the goal of developing that kind of local talent so that we become the sort of anomaly in professional sports where you look at a 25-man roster, and in a perfect world, we'd love to be able to say more than 50% of that roster, is Fort Wayne natives, kids that
That'd
have
be
come up
sweet.
through our programs. So it's going to be a while to get to that point. And like I said, I'll probably be not kicking soccer balls. I'll be kicking my walker ahead of me. But that's the goal. That's the dream. So
That's awesome.
That's super
That's
Now,
cool.
cool.
will you guys ever think about bringing so since you said academy, like Fort Wayne FC Academy, would you guys ever think about putting a separate team back on USL too then?
I would say all that's open.
Yeah.
And, with promotion and relegation, potentially being a part of the USL too, which is so cool. I can't begin to explain to you. I'm a fortunate guy who got to travel with my kids playing soccer because in addition to, that good looking redhead kid, his older brother played too. And I actually got to travel, to England and Scotland, and actually this is the funny part. I didn't even put it together that DeMarcus played for the Glasgow Rangers. That's where I went with my son. But, we landed at Old Trafford and we got to go walk on the field. So, I mean, when you see that kind of support and that kind of level, that promotion and relegation is just everything. And I feel like Americans, North Americans, understand that for the first time, courtesy of Wrexham, and the exposure they've given to that promotional system. So, USL Championship, you never know. A USL 2 team in addition to what we're doing, absolutely, a chance. A women's professional team is
Mhm.
something that's on our radar,
Yeah.
for the
Super
for the
cool.
Super League.
Yeah.
And then never say never. You just we're not going to close the door to anything. Now, you guys are going to need to round up a lot of your friends to make some of this stuff happen, okay? But assuming we can do that, then I would say nothing's off the table. And the way that Mark worked with architects and the design collaborative group here in town, that's amazing. That we have that sort of group here in Fort Wayne that has designed facilities all over the world, and so we're fortunate to have them. But we will have the ability to expand this stadium. So if we come to the conclusion that we can support a 17,000 seat stadium, I don't know that we can get to that level, but certainly, expansion and things like that are not out of the question. You're talking to a lifelong Green Bay Packers fan. I don't know if any of you've ever been to, don't tell DeMarcus, but I actually like American football. Um, but I don't know if you've ever seen Green Bay, but that city has no business having an NFL team. So
Oh, it's
am
great.
yeah, I mean, so am I saying that we'll get to any levels like that? No. Not necessarily, but if you don't dream big, then you'll never get big. I mean, that's just the way it is.
Yeah, if you haven't seen the background, I got Jordan Love, Josh Jacobs, Brett Favre, signed mini helmets in the background. It's okay.
I didn't see that, but you're talking to defenders of, listen, I know Brett had his problems, but hey, was there a greater NFL quarterback? Jordan, Love is carrying the torch, and then there's that Aaron Rodgers guy that, even though I wouldn't want to hang out with him and have a cup of coffee, I'm all in on them. So yeah, lifelong Packers fan here. And the other thing that makes me very proud, I've been an adjunct professor in this town at the University of St. Francis and Indiana Tech over my years. And I have two former students working for the Green Bay Packers. I have approximately 75 kids are in sports around, the globe actually, that have worked under me as an intern, who have been in my classes. I'm so blessed to have to say that, and the MLS team in LA. I've got a young man out there. So anyway, I digress, but go Pack. That's all I
Yeah,
got to say.
go Pack, go.
Awesome. So Scott, with with that talk of being able to expand, how much of that was was that in the planning process? I mean, like, so when you designed the stadium, they knew that at some point you wanted to be able to build it out. Is that what I was hearing?
I mean, yeah, there's a couple short answers to that. First of all, that predates me and my time, a long time ago. But when Mark and the people behind the club first envisioned this, it was going to be a modular stadium, similar to, I don't know if you guys are golf fans, but the Phoenix Open, when they bring in those stands around that 17th green and create an atmosphere in golf that is just absolutely unparalleled, it was all going to be a modular stadium and much smaller than it is now. But as everybody got into this, Mark in particular, DeMarcus, the original group of owners that deserve mention, Lapsley family, the Khorshid family, John Bellio, who unfortunately recently passed away, that entire group, I mean, they dreamed big. And so as things went along, they thought, we don't want a modular stadium. We want this unbelievable, asset to the community. And Mark owned the land already, and so he decided, hey, we're gonna set this thing down in a way that is just unmissable, so that everybody that travels to, from, or through the city of Fort Wayne is going to say, wow, they've got a professional soccer team here. So that's the plan. And again, the one end of the stadium is completely open. So, again, never say never. If we were to, take that from a horseshoe to an entire oval, if we were to expand, again, only 55 feet from the touchline, guys, anywhere in the stadium. So there's the chance we could do that. Now, I personally think we're better off just being the premier, stadium at our level, and then see what happens with promotion, relegation, things like that. But the short answer is yes, we could, but we'll wait and see how, everything pans out and what the city says to us. And, a lot of that expansion, to be blunt too, will be other events, because, the capability to have just a myriad of events that appeal to all population bases, and really expand out. I mean, the Indy 11, great name, by the way, for a soccer team. But they have their fans, so we're not going to draw as much from Indy until we, get them to come play us in a friendly, which that's on my radar right now. But we're going to have a larger geographic base of people that want to come in for a concert or, who knows what else. And so, we will have the ability to expand, even if it's just from that standpoint and not necessarily need based for the soccer club.
Yeah, and looking at the average attendance of, even USL champions, I think, what you have there with 8,000 is going to be a fantastic start.
Yeah, we think so. I mean, and there's going to be some pretty impressive scenarios coming into League One, coming up here. I mean, I don't know if you've paid attention, but to use round numbers, you're talking about a league that was 14 teams last year, and there's a chance we could be as many as 21, for this upcoming season. So the growth there speaks for itself, and
Hmm.
like Boise, the unbelievable early success. So it's just going to continue to grow and expand. And here's one for you guys. You can win some trivia contests. Did you know Rob Gronkowski is involved in an ownership group in USL One?
Really?
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah. Texoma. Yeah, Texoma. So there's some
Nice.
pretty impressive names. And if you look around what's been happening in North American soccer, you've got former, soccer superstars joining these ownership groups. And then I'm sure you probably saw recently the major investment group that is committed to coming in with USL. So there's big things happening. And again, we may have to build to get exactly where we want to be and to get up to those levels, but the future's bright for North American soccer, and we just need to find our place in it and make it as good as we can. And then, to answer your other question, preseason Green Bay Packers exhibition game. If I accomplish nothing else in the next
Mm-hmm.
10 to 15 to 20 years, there it is. And just to make sure my Packers
I'd be
win,
very happy about that.
yeah, just to make sure my Packers win, we'll play the Bears because, let's face it.
That's fair enough. Yeah, yeah.
Oh
Now,
man.
and we do know Fort Wayne is, they support the minor league sports. I mean, the Comets, the Tin Caps, they sell out very often. Comets led the league in attendance, average attendance. Tin Caps, I mean, if you go on a Thursday night, Friday night, Saturday night, it's packed. So I have no doubt that, Fort Wayne's gonna support the Fort Wayne FC, and it's gonna be really exciting.
Yeah, the Comets had this really intelligent guy that worked for him for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yep. Yep.
I don't want to say anything there, but no, Mike Nutter's a friend of mine, and this market has a tendency to do things right, to do it well, and community support is everything.
Mhm.
You have your supporters group, you have your group of core people who my sources tell me are getting all new drums from Sweetwater next year.
Hey, there we go, Kevin. Thanks.
Yeah, there you go. But
Do it.
it really comes down to the support of the community, and there's a responsibility there, guys. I mean, we need to be in the schools. We need to be
Mm.
down at the parks where DeMarcus already has a presence. We need to be out at all the soccer events. We need to be, raising funds for people. There is a Fort Wayne FC Foundation already established, and that will be a big part of what we do. So if we accept the responsibility to be that kind of community partner and we go out and put our money where our mouth is, then typically that's what's going to hit us in return. And the corporate support in this market, again, I hear rumors, the smart guy that used to work for the Comets, but if you give to this community, they typically give back. And if anyone's ever met DeMarcus Beasley, if anybody's ever met Mark Music, if anybody's ever met that list of original owners I just gave you, there are not more community-minded people. These are people that have made their way here in town, that have made their place in an industry and in corporations, and now they're going to put their money where their mouth is to say, hey, this is home, and we're going to have the best home stadium in soccer.
Like I said, I can't wait to see it in person. I mean, Dylan and I drive by it all the time,
Yep.
and it just keeps getting bigger and bigger
Yeah.
and bigger.
It's very
Yeah,
impressive.
it's fun. I don't
Yeah.
claim to know anything about construction, but when you can start seeing, like for example, the closed horseshoe, it's
Mm-hmm.
starting to move around that way, and
Yep.
the roofing and things will start going up. the day will come probably sooner rather than later when you'll drive by there and it won't be, hey, what's going up there anymore? It'll be, holy crap, look at that stadium.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And then development from the landscaping around it to the parking around it, and also the neighborhood. We want to work hard to help improve that entire area, whether it's people buying up land to sell to gas stations or other shake shops, or I don't know, breweries. For some reason, this podcast seems to talk a lot about Thursday nights at the Tin Cap game and things like that. But those things will happen, and there's nothing wrong with that either. And if we can become that catalyst, you're going to see all that happen. And as it happens, number one, we're going to be awful happy about it because it's going to add other things to our area and other things for people to see and do. But it's also going to, not revive, but to continue to be a catalyst for growth in an area that's already growing pretty quickly. So, and then it's up to us to continue to make things better. Will we ever have an exit off the interstate there? Well, I can tell you this: we will certainly die trying if we don't get it done.
That
Mhm.
road
So,
is going to be so congested if that doesn't happen.
Super.
oh
Yeah.
come on, not at
Super.
all. Okay,
I mean,
Hey,
it's
get
already
there-
busy enough in
Get
the
there
morning.
early. It's not that hard.
no,
Get there early.
yeah, listen, just
Yeah,
get there.
really.
We are going to open the stadium, so you won't have to sit in the parking lot under a tent. We'll just tailgate right inside. Okay, so we can do that, and we can start scheduling arrivals. So hey, you guys are invited first, so you can come in at noon if you want to for a 7 o'clock game, and then we'll just stagger everybody in. Now, I mean, as things improve out there, it will get less congested, and hey. I don't know if you've ever tried to get in or out of the Coliseum on the game night of the Comets, especially if like there was a car event going on the other
Yeah.
side, or a bit. You're pretty
Mhm.
congested there too. So
True.
Yeah.
True.
it's just the realities of the infrastructure. This is an old town. This is an old community, and there's been much done to it. But at the end of the day, there are just realities with living here. Kind of like you're not going to get y- the kind of amphitheaters that will let you have Taylor Swift. But I've heard Jason Kelsey sing, and I think we could probably fit one in for him because let's face it. Now his brother's pretty good, but yeah,
They came out with a great
Travis
Christmas
Kelce.
album.
Yeah, I've heard a rumor to that effect, but again, Chiefs, Eagles, I can't go there. I can't go there. So who cares?
Yeah. So, fun fact, his brother did actually come play a bunch of saxophones at Sweetwater.
I heard that. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's what I heard.
yeah. So,
But see, my question is, if they didn't bring Taylor Swift then I don't care. I mean, if they'd have pulled that off, that's a different story. This is not an unattractive lady. With apologies to my wife, the most beautiful woman on the planet Earth. Let's face it. She hasn't made, and she's not the biggest act in the world because she just can sing pretty well. Let's just leave it at that.
Yeah.
all right. So Scott, any fun stuff that you can reveal to us about what this first season in USL One has in store?
Well, to give you a couple tips, I mean, we hired this coach today who, for my money, is the best guy on any soccer field anywhere. He tremendous guy. And has he been a pro coach before? No, but he's gonna be. And he is now, and we announced that today. So everybody starts somewhere in coaching. Mike already proved what he can do at the USL 2 level. And he's going to prove it at the USL 1 level. I'm completely convinced of it. So that's pretty cool. Again, there could be some good looking redheaded kid on the team, maybe if it works out. Takes after his mother. But anyway, and then I will tip our hand to, we've got a very exciting event coming up in just under a month on October 23rd, and those details will be coming out, and it'll mark a pretty big happening and a pretty cool happening around the club, and everything that you'll see going forward, and then we will have a lot of just events coming up. So we will kick off in March, or theoretically when the season starts, or we might do the safe thing and start and play a couple games on the road, more than normal, to give ourselves a little time. not because the stadium won't be done, but because all people involved, we want to have the kind of practice runs that allow us to make sure that the video capabilities are amazing, that the sound quality is amazing,
Yeah.
that
Mhm.
the security staff is amazing, that the culinary parts and the concessions are
That's
Yeah.
solid.
right. That's
Yeah.
important.
So there's a chance we'll let you guys do this podcast from in there, and we'll
That
see
would
how that
be
sounds,
that would
and
be
so
dope.
That'd be
yeah,
so
we'll
awesome.
do that. Yeah, and then there's a lot of exciting things. So pretty
Heck
much
yeah.
over the course of the next 6 months, you're just going to continue to see us do more and more, and as I like to say, meet people where they are. It is not the thriving nature of minor league sports if you just if you build it, they will come. They just had,
Mm.
I'm trying to remember what it was, but on Field of Dreams, on the actual field that MLB built, I think they just had their first concert there. So what's that tell you? If you build it, they won't come. You got to go meet people where they are. So it's our responsibility to get out to show everybody what's going on, and then we will certainly extend the welcome mat to bring everybody in. But again, we need to go show people why they should be supporting the product and the market and the sport. And I think the World Cup's an example. I think what's happened in travel soccer here in our community and those clubs, which we want to try to become the catalyst to join all of that together. I mean, soccer is an inclusive game all over the world. There's no reason it can't be inclusive here at home. And there's so many good people involved with the sport. I have the very unique perspective of having my middle son Ty start playing at 7 years old, and he's 27 now, so there's 20 years. And then Reed started playing at a very early age. He was on the sideline practicing when one of his brother's team was playing, and the coach came over and said, "Hey, why isn't he playing travel?" And I said, "Because he's 6." um, but so I've been around the game for 20 years, and I know the quality of people that are
Mhm.
involved in this city, and it's just it's unbelievable. And even when soccer wasn't as big a deal in this country, those people were dedicated. They were here and they were running these clubs, and they've merged those clubs. And the high school level of play around here is impeccable.
Mhm.
And some of the bigger schools that play here, I actually have a daughter-in-law who's the head coach of the Leo High School girls team. So, yeah. So Ty's wife, my middle son's wife, she's there, and her whole family came up through that. So, I've seen it all unfold. I've seen the people. They are worthy of our efforts, and we want to be worthy of their efforts and their support.
Yeah. Scott, I really like how you said soccer. Sorry, Kevin. I really like how you
Go
said
ahead.
soccer was very inclusive. Something that is really big coming on around our community is the DeKalb Special Olympics unified soccer team has actually qualified to go play at the national games in Minnesota next summer. So that's just an awesome thing to see with DeKalb County Special Olympics getting the chance to go do that. And, that's there you go. There's the inclusive part,
Yeah.
unified being partners and athletes, people with and without intellectual disabilities. So,
Yeah, well, you've got our commitment. We'll find a way to involve that at the stadium as well. And then I don't know how much you guys know about Turnstone, but the power
hmm
soccer program they
Yep.
have there is impeccable. I'm on some fundraising committees and different committees at Turnstone, and it's our goal to really shine the light on that program, because that is a nationally recognized program of these athletes that are so special that are playing, and a lot of them can't afford the power chairs to play. So, there's another opportunity to include everyone and invite everyone in, and let Fort Wayne become a mecca for the game that quite frankly it's not been in the past, but it has all the potential in the world to become that. And that's our responsibility to make that happen.
absolutely.
All right. So Um, all right. Well, we have about hit our limit here. Scott, we want to thank you so much for coming on.
Yes.
We do
Yes.
always close with a closing question. So our closing question tonight is, what is your favorite moment of minor league sports? Sorry, what is your favorite moment in minor league sports? And Dylan, we'll start with you.
Man, I feel like we've had this question before, but my
It's always good.
answer, yeah. I think that first game at the Mad Ants, being up in the nosebleeds, playing, uh, understanding that I can use drums to, be a part of something bigger, which was pretty cool. After, leaving high school and not really like thinking I could ever play drums again in that type of setting, which was, pretty awesome for me. So yeah, I'd say that's probably my favorite.
Cool.
Oh, definitely joining the Fort Wayne FC drumline. It's always a great time.
Yeah.
I hear their leadership is really solid. So
Mhm.
Yeah. That one guy's getting us all new drums this year, so that's
I
pretty
hope.
good.
what I
Let's
heard.
do it.
That's what I heard.
Let's do it.
Colin, how about you, bud?
You guys already know this. Triple overtime.
Overtime.
Justin Hodgman for the Turner Cup.
Mm.
Never forget it.
I was there at that event, as luck would have it, and the thing about Haji, he's still in town here, by the way. He's
Oh, he
currently
is?
working. Yes, he's currently working for Republic Services, and his son is a tremendous young hockey player. So Haji's been somebody that I've had, as part of my life and under my wing for a very long time. And what I can tell you is his statement after that game when I made it down to the ice was, I was so freaking tired I had to score. Is what he told me.
Yeah.
Very cool. Very cool.
Nice.
I would have to say one of mine was I'll change it up here. When we did our first event for Fort Wayne FC, where we did our walkthrough year one, and having DeMarcus just walk up, somebody that I watched when I'd watched the World Cup, going, oh, hey, he's from Fort Wayne, one of my favorite players. He'd just walk up and tell me how cool he thought what we were doing was super cool. And the fact that now that I'm on a first name basis with him and will just talk to me about soccer or life or anything is probably one of my favorite moments. So, all right,
I'm not
Scott.
gonna lie. When we first met DeMarcus that first year of Fort Wayne FC drums, shook his hand when he left. I looked over at Kevin, I'm like, Kevin, that was DeMarcus Beasley, right? And you were like, yeah.
Yeah.
And I was just like, he's a legend, bro.
Yeah.
And Kevin's like, I know.
Yep.
You're welcome.
All right, Scott, how about you?
Well, obviously, being on this program with you guys tonight has to be right up there.
Great
Yeah.
answer. Great answer.
But mine's a little different, and it goes back to my Fury days. Yeah, every championship with the Comets was special. There's no getting around it, and I've gotten to be friends with some amazing human beings. Nick Boucher, Kelly Hurd, on and on. Dustin Virag, Justin Hodgman, Kaylee Schrock, Sean Sidlowski, and the list goes on. And I'm sorry if I'm forgetting people. But so that's been special. But the one that I will always hold on to is when we actually signed Master P to play for the Fort Wayne Fury. Because that made him say, "Ugh," and also hooty hoo, and I've got the hookup. So to it sounds funny, but when he first came to town, it was right after his record label, No Limit Records, had basically signed, Snoop Dogg, and when the whole rap wars was going on. So then after signing Master P, I was fortunate enough. Kevin Nash was a gentleman I'm close to, and for those of you who don't know wrestling, that's Diesel, that's Big Sexy, that's the founder of the NWO, etc. Who actually was in town one time with us. But that got me into WCW, and I made friends there. And the No Limit Soldiers actually were a faction that were rivals. Their rivalry was with the West Texas Rednecks, which was Kurt Hennig and some other people. But I digress. It wasn't technically minor league sports, but I got to be in a room for about 15 minutes with Dusty Rhodes and Master P. And if I could have, I won't make fun of voices and do it, but to hear that conversation, trust me, it was like you couldn't have put two people farther apart on planet Earth and had that dialogue going on. So that's a long way to say I've had so many moments, guys. I couldn't even identify one other than just, being here with you guys tonight.
We
Nice.
we
We
Thank
appreciate
appreciate that.
Thank you.
Yeah.
All right. Well, Scott, do you have anybody you'd like to shout out?
Um, you know, just everyone who will be selling out for NFC Park,
Mhm.
next March or April. Shout out to them. But really, just this town. I mean, I've never had a real job, as I like to tell people. I've worked in minor league sports in this town for approximately 35 years, and the people in this town that have shaped where we are in whether that's the people that are spurring major developments, the people that have been instrumental in getting things here. I go all the way back to Tom Yale and some other crazy gentlemen who, were the reason that the Wizards were here from the first time. Just getting to see all that. My shout out is to absolutely everyone who's made Fort Wayne what it is, which is a very, very special minor league sports town.
All right. Well, guys, thanks for listening. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. And Colin, what do we say?
you.
All right. See you guys. Thank you.